Hey guys, Bike here, and I'm back again with another Last Epoch build guide video. This one is a build guide review. Shout out to Dread over on YouTube. This comes from his Zero to Hero series. This is Tornado Werebear. So the footage that you guys are watching, I'm doing at Corruption 454. So a little bit of a backstory. If you've been by my live streams recently, you might have seen me playing Swipe Werebear. And it was not good. I was doing Swipe Upheaval. It was fun. It reminded me of Pulverized Druid from Diablo 4. Kind of like a mixture of Leap Quake as well from the Barbarian. It was cool, but it didn't have the damage. I, barely made it to 350 corruption on it. And I was just getting absolutely shellacked. I couldn't do bossing at all. So I was getting ready to throw in the towel and just, not upload a build guide this week. But then everybody was telling me, hey, check out Tornado Werebear. Check out Tornado Werebear. And I had heard of it. I'm well aware of Dread's video series. So I decided, what the heck, let's check it out. So I already had some gear. I went and took a look at Dread's planner on his video. And I was able to slap together this build with some of the gear that I had. I had a couple good pieces. Mostly those are the more neutral pieces, from all my Sentinel playing. And I was able to easily increase my corruption by over 100. I was barely doing 300. This is, it was doing between 300 and 400 on the other one. This one's 450, and I'm sure I could keep going. But yeah, I was just having a good time with it. It's a good build. It's a good build, man. I was able to kill Aberoth with it. Spoilers. And I was just like, you know what? I spent an afternoon with this. I didn't spend what I normally do, a week where I just play in the evening for a few hours every night. I spent an afternoon. I've spent like 2 hours with this, and this is what I was able to do with gear I had laying around in my stash. I will note, in this example, this character was already level 98. I didn't start Zero to Hero on this. This is Legacy, and this is Circle of Fortune. So I had some really good gear from Sentinel. I kind of implied that. And I liked it. All right, I liked it. You got the zoomies. You're able to jump around. You're able to slap down the tornadoes. It's a great time. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at some bosses, because that's what I was struggling with the most. Here we go. It's me. It's the Black Sun timeline. So we got Raye, who's just getting melted. And one thing I got to watch out for, I don't have the best gear, so my survivability is a little lacking, but nonetheless, it's still pretty good. Our damage is there, right? And after that, we moved on to the Harbinger. We're able to take him down too. I alluded to it earlier. Let's go ahead and take a look at Aberoth. He's very similar to the other fights. It's basically try not to get hit. You can take a hit or two, which is good. Try and burn him down, avoid all the stuff. I will admit, it did take me a couple tries. One problem I have with the build is you have a hard time seeing the ground because there's a lot of tornadoes. Dread has said as much in his own build references. So yeah, for the most part, it's pretty good. So let's go ahead, jump into the game, and take a look at everything. All right, here we are in game. We're going to do a quick demonstration of how everything works. Okay, so the idea is this. You take your mana bar over here. You take your mana bar, and you take your tornado, and you just cast a bunch of tornadoes. And you try and get it as fast as possible. Switch to Werebear, hit a couple swipes, and possibly go running away. And that's how you do damage. And you notice that we're back to a full mana bar. So let me break it down for you real quick. You want a good amount of mana for this, because the idea is to burn down all your mana, to spam a bunch of tornadoes, to hit this guy, and then to use Werebear to fill up your mana bar with rage, keep your rage topped off, switch back to human form, where you now have a whole bunch of mana again. Are you tracking with me? And while in Werebear form, we get access to certain things like a 40% more damage multiplier, While running with Rampage, we get a 20% more lightning damage multiplier. We get a base crit and, well, more of a global crit chance in Werebear form. We also get extra damage. If I'm not mistaken, I believe, well, in Werebear form, you get a little extra damage and health. We get some endurance. We convert spell damage per strength. It's all a good time, right? So we kind of juice ourselves with this. So in human form, the damage is okay, right? Like this is whatever. All right, this is whatever damage. Switch to Werebear form. All of a sudden, you add a couple zeros to some of those numbers, right? And we're really juicing it with Swipe. You tracking with me here? We're really juicing this with Swipe. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to lay the smack down. Go faster. Boom. Damage is insane, man. Damage is insane. So here's what's going on. We're not really using the damage of Tornado that much. What we're doing is we're using Tornado to proc Storm Bolts, right? Tornado casts Storm Bolts. And then we increase the frequency here. So what we're doing... You may wonder, why do we have Gathering Storm? Gathering Storm, we're using this to juice the damage of the Storm Bolts. We don't actually use Gathering Storm. The best way I can explain this to maybe my Sentinel lovers out there, think of this as Smite procced off melee attack or thrown attack. So we have Smite, we spec into Smite, but we're proccing it through other means. We're doing the same thing here. So with Gathering Storm, we're juicing the damage of Storm Bolts, so don't worry about Storm stacks. Worry about the Storm Bolts. That's what we're juicing with Gathering Storm here, and we're taking all these nodes to make them better. I followed Dread's guide pretty thoroughly. All of these points here, I took some liberties, but for the most part, I just follow what Dread did and look at the results. So, yeah, you try and keep your rage topped off in Werebear form. That wasn't a good example. I was just letting it drain there. But, yeah, we get the mana. If you want to juice it a little bit faster, we use Warcry, right? So, like, let's say this is an enemy. We're running towards the guy. Leap in, Warcry, juice all of that stuff, all of it. Switch to Werebear form, get a couple swipes in, and then you can just, like, run away. All right, you can get run away. You can get caught. Oh, this is funny. This is funny. Okay, and so with Warcry, we're able to juice pretty well with this side. We'll go over this in the skill section, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview because we're also using Swipe. The reason why we're using Swipe, when you use Swipe, you gain a stack of Aspect of the Panther, and with Aspect of the Panther, you gain all these global damage buffs. So one thing you might want to consider as an alternative way of playing, as I've been showing you guys, I try and juice down my tornadoes as fast as possible, switch to Werebear, and then get a couple swipes in, right? There's my stacks. That makes sense? Then I switch back. And then we repeat. And then we repeat. Switch back, boom. Get a couple stacks in. Right? What you could do, let's move up over here. You could also play it like this. Maybe you don't have those kind of damage windows. Maybe you can't just stand there the entire time. Juice, transform, swipe. What you could do is kind of, as you're going around, you kind of proc some of this. You know, you use a swipe stack every once in a while. Stutter step, bam. Now juice it. Switch, and guess what? You already got some of your swipe stacks. Your damage is popping off immediately. That's the essence of the build. So that was the demonstration. Let's go ahead and switch over to the gear. So let's talk about this. So one thing you guys will notice is my more neutral pieces of gear are actually halfway decent. My Druid specific pieces of gear are, I got like one or two. So, this helmet it's aight. All right. You want strength. Dread said stack a bunch of strength. If you guys are also wondering, I checked in with him in his live stream before recording this. He doesn't know I'm recording this video, so hey, Dread, if you're watching, hi, how's it going? He doesn't know I'm recording this, but I checked in. I wanted to double check, and because in his video he used strength everywhere, And he did say +4 to Tornado was fine. But for the most part, you're going to want to be stacking strength. Strength helps out a lot. It helps with your armor. I'm actually pretty lacking. Right now, I only have 3,000 armor. I get a little bit more when I'm transforming and stuff. Right? And we'll go over how those interactions work. But for the most part, we don't have a lot of armor. That's my main weakness right here. So if you're in the same boat as me, maybe consider stacking armor instead of +4 to Tornado. But let's go over this. So Ice Wolf Pelt, this is fine. Dread actually recommends you use the Raptor Helm because it has base crit on it. So here we go. We got 16 to strength, +2 to Werebear form. Those are fine. Your other two suffixes, you're probably going to want health or some sort of defensive option. Bone Amulet, this one is fine. It's kind of a holdover. I think Bone Amulet's a really good pickup because it gives you physical and necrotic resistance. Mana is a really good choice. You might even want to go full on mana, but there's nothing wrong with health. Critical strike multiplier, chance to shred armor, and if you need it, chance to apply frailty. So this wand, remember I was mentioning the more neutral pieces. I had this sitting in my inventory. Yes, that is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a double tier 7. Dread was saying you want cast speed on this build. He said cast speed, lightning damage, and mana are what you want as a pickup. He did say Crystal Wand was best in slot. So here we go. We got Crystal Wand, cast speed, lightning damage, and then I got so unlucky here. I know, right? I'm saying I got unlucky with this. I only had the tier 2 increased stun chance. I had an open suffix. So I'm like, perfect. Put 1 chance to apply shock. Took away a bunch of forging potential. I then sealed the shock. Took away a bunch of forging potential. I put 1 lightning pin, and I used Glyph of Hope all the way except for when I sealed. It took the rest of the forging potential. I was hoping to get a tier 5 on lightning pin, but for the most part, this is still a pretty cracked out wand. So yeah, Crystal Wand, cast speed, T7 if you got it, but just do what you can with it. Dread's planner will be a little bit more humble because he started all the way in solo character found with nothing and took it all the way to 10 out of 10 Harbingers. This is kind of building off of what he did. Essentially, I'm trying to give him a shout out because this build is strong. I played it for an afternoon and I wanted to show you guys, like, hey, if you got some time between now and when this season 2 starts, which is like a week, maybe check out this build. We don't know what the status of it will be. I guess I should have led with that. Huge disclaimer. This build might be getting nerfed in season 2. So if you're like me, right? If you are like me and you got a werebear laying around and you got some gear, you could do this with a lot less gear than what I got. You got some gear laying around and you want to give this a shot, this is who that video is for, right? This is for somebody who spent a week trying to make something work and failed. By the way, I put that in the description, a planner to that. If somebody wants to pick up where I left off, by all means. Otherwise, it's dead to me right now. But nonetheless, I was able to take some of that, convert it over to Tornado, and boom, there you go. This is who that video is for. I guess I should have led with that. Golly, well, we're already this far. So here we go. We got Primalist Ancestral Garb. This is a great base, right? Gives you % health, cooldown recovery speed, strength. I needed physical resistance and increased health. I think those are all good. Your suffixes work on your defenses, either double health or a resistance and health or something. Strength is really good. Strength, you might be better off with strength. I did ask Dread in his live stream today, is pluses to Tornado good? I got a +4. He said it's absolutely great. So I'm going with that. One thing I'm noticing, like I said, I don't have as much armor. If I wanted to push this, I might switch to something with some more armor and then, more strength, keep going, pushing, all that, and then eventually come back and put this back on. Otherwise, I think this is a great base. This is a great piece of gear. Eagle Wing, the main reason why we're using Eagle Wing is the base critical strike chance that we get. Right underneath where it says 48 melee damage, we're looking for that. This has got a T7 critical strike chance. Dread highly recommended mana in this slot, and then chance to shred armor, and then if you got enough space, Maybe chance to apply frailty, but that only works on chance to apply frailty on melee hit, which we do sometimes with swipe. But try and get these 3 affixes: increase critical strike chance, mana, and chance to shred armor. Ivory Ring, this is for necrotic resistance and poison resistance, plus we got some health, critical strike chance, strength. It's a great ring. It's a great ring. Belt could be better. If I could make it without the poison resistance, as you guys can see, my only other source of poison resistance is this. If I could make it without that, then I would probably use a Praetorian belt. You know, that's the one with a lot of fat armor. I would definitely use that over this, but I needed the resistances. This is a cheap way of getting around it. If you can min-max a little bit more, maybe make some room in your idols, which I definitely could, you can use a Praetorian belt. But Spider Silk's also pretty good too. So in Dread's build, he doesn't use any uniques whatsoever. I tried to mirror that by keeping it the low as possible, but I need a little bit more crit chance because I didn't have the Raptor helm, or at least a Raptor helm with strength. So I went with Phantom Grip with T6 critical strike chance and health, and then it has base critical strike chance. All right, so let me show you. Let me show you right now. So right now I have 65% critical strike chance. It's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. But when we transform with all of our bonuses, boom, it goes up, right? So, you know, if you want to finagle it a little bit more, maybe you don't need a Phantom Grip. Maybe you can get away with like a ring with like a T7 critical strike chance. But I feel like Phantom Grip is going to do you pretty well. I mean, I guess we could try. I guess we could try just regular Phantom Grip with nothing on it. Okay, so you could just use regular Phantom Grip as long as you have a 2% critical strike chance. That is a possibility. I like redundancy. I work for the military after all. I like redundancy, so I like being a little over cap on this part. Moving on, Eternal Gauntlets. These are going to be your best in slot. Obviously, it would behoove us if we had more armor, but you're going to want T7 cast speed, and then health, and I was able to seal a chance to apply frailty, and you would probably want strength or attunement in that potion health converted award. I guess I should also go back and say this. You could get away with attunement on your gear here. For me personally, I needed the strength, and we're able to convert strength into flat damage with a node. But nonetheless, you could also use attunement, right? This ring could also use attunement, but I like the idea of strength. Just saying. Solarum Greaves, you know, us Sentinel players, we're so used to seeing like 4 pairs of boots, right? When you're leveling, you use whatever you got, but in an in-game build, it's either Citadel boots, Dark Strides, Foot of the Mountain, or Blood of the Exile. I feel like those are the 4 boots you see the most on Sentinel builds. I'm sure there's a couple others out there, but at least for me, those are the 4 I almost fall upon. So it was so weird using Solarum Greaves. But I needed the fire resistance. See, that's the thing we don't really have to suffer as Sentinel players. There's fire resistance everywhere, especially if we go Paladin. But fire resistance, movement speed, elemental resistance, critical strike avoidance. That's a good one. It goes hand in hand with the blessing. And intelligence, obviously, I would greatly prefer strength or attunement in this slot, but that's what we got. As for the relic, this is what I had from my previous build, and Warcry fits. Strength, endurance threshold, it works. +1 to all skills. It's fine. You don't need this. You can get away with, well, maybe not this one, but the one Dread was using was, it gave the relic, I don't know the base type, the base name, but it gave pluses to cold and necrotic. You can definitely just go with that. All right, guys, that is the gear. Let's go ahead and talk about the idols. So in the loot filter, by the way, there's a loot filter in the description down below. In the loot filter, I have these idols set up, right? I have these idols set up. I think these are pretty good. Flat damage to Stormbolt. Also, spell damage while transformed is not bad. Spell damage if you have an active totem, that sort of thing. We'll go over why the totem thing makes sense. But for the most part, these are not too bad. Essentially, these are just comfort idols. These are getting changed in Season 2, so I guess this is my last chance to flex. These double health idols that I got, you know, a number of 529. I even got a 530 over there. Like, these are great, right? These are great. That's how I have so much health. Honestly, you're probably better off getting some of these type of idols. Oh yeah, I forgot. My face is still over here. Okay. And then you're better off getting some of these idols and then also getting resistances, putting that there. But for right now, I'm doing this. I had some of these health idols laying around. Like I said, Cough Legacy. And that's what we got. So let's go ahead and move on to the blessings. So for the blessings, take what you want, take what you want, take what you want, take what you want, take what you want. Let's go over the good ones, right? Black Sun. Spell Leech is really nice, but right now my only source of void resistance is this timeline. So go for void resistance. If you have it solved on your gear, you can go ahead and grab Spell Leech. It's really nice, or Critical Strike Multiplier. Ending the Storm, I feel like you got 3 options. I feel like this is the best option. Mana. Extra mana is always really nice, but you could also go Lightning Shred. Right? You could also go Lightning Shred, but we're already applying Shock. I feel like there's diminishing returns, so I think mana's best. And then the last one can help with your survivability is the health regen blessing. You can go with that. I think mana's best in slot. Reign of Dragons, I went for Critical Strike Avoidance, but if you're not going Critical Strike Avoidance, you could go All Res. Very nice. Okay, you know, good old Sentinel player here, always looking for endurance. I'm leaning on this blessing right here. You could go for armor if you have your endurance solved elsewhere. I was just being lazy, and I took the 30% and then made up the 10% elsewhere. Armor, you're definitely going to want armor here, and then we already went over that. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the skills. Okay, so everything I did here, I followed what Dread did, right? So we already kind of talked about Gathering Storm. We're using Gathering Storm like we would as us Sentinel players would be using Smite. We're not using Gathering Storm directly, so the whole Storm stack scenario, we're not using it. We're just juicing Storm Bolt wherever we can here in the tree. You may notice I have 1 point. I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. This is my second time recording this video. And in the first recording, I realized I put a point here because I followed what Dread said and I had an extra point. I'm using the relic, right? And I put it here. The thing is, we're not expending Storm stacks, so we don't have a chance to cast Storm Bolts twice because we only expend Storm stacks if we're casting Gathering Storm, but we're not casting Gathering Storm, right? Cool. So I had a point here and I removed it and I put it up there. Now, to answer the first thing, you might be asking, well, why are you recording this again, Bike? Bike forgot his mic was muted and recorded for an hour. Hi. You might be wondering why I'm talking so fast this entire time. I'm trying to get through it. How's it going? Let's go over to Swipe. So we kind of covered it. Swipe we're using to juice everything, right? So the idea is we get Aspect of the Panther up. With Aspect of the Panther up, let me move my face over here again just so we can demonstrate. Look at my Critical Strike Multiplier right there in the corner. It keeps jumping up, right? 396%. That's insane. Oh, wait, what? You get an extra 50 from being in bear form. And somebody just subscribed on YouTube. I'm recording this through OBS. Lucas Santo, you are getting a shout out in a YouTube video. All right. And I might have to turn that off for the future because some people might be like, oh, dude, Bike uses OBS to record. We got to troll him. Please don't. Please. All right. So, yeah, we're using Swipe to... Oh, yeah, let's swap back. So, we are using Swipe to absolutely juice the damage. And then this is for survivability, right? This is just for the hit damage of Swipe. This is for the health leech that we get out of Swipe. What we're really trying to do is juice this for more stacks, juice this for more stacks. This also gives us damage per stack, so we can get 7 stacks. So 5 times 7. Oh, that's 35% global more damage. Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. 35% global damage in total if you have all 7 stacks. We make the stacks last longer with this, and then we gain 12% global critical strike multiplier per stack. Wait, it's doubled. 24 times 7. You guys can go do the math on that. All right, so we already went over with the points on this. So by the way, Dread took all of these and then put a point here. Oh, I didn't finish my thought over here. So I took a point out of Two-Eyed Storm, and I plan on putting it here into Jolting Strikes. The end. Let's go over to Tornadoes. So we're putting... I followed everything that Dread did except for these 5 points. So let me go over those 5 points. So 1 point in Last in the Storm. Dread only put 3, right? I put 4. Tornado lasts longer, duration 60%, because I had the points to spare. Remember, we got +4 from Tornado and +1 from the Relic. So he put 3 points, then he put 4 points. This is more important. Under Hurricane, you want the double cast chance at 100%, right? You want that at 100%. Put all 4 points here, nothing down here. He put 3 points. I put 4 points because I can spare it. He put no points in Stormbringer. I put 3, again, because I could spare it. After asking Dread, I went and asked him, hey, I got a +4 to Tornado. Should I put them here? He said no. Should I put them here? He said put 1 point there and then put the... Well, he said put the points in Stormbringer and then fit them somewhere else. So that's what I did. I took the cast speed nodes, 1 point in Lasting Storm because I figured it makes sense. Make the Tornadoes last longer. And then 1 point in Overcast Skies. So that's how we went there. 1 point in Aspect of the Storm. This is a buff. Lasts 2 seconds. Grants us 10% increased movement speed. You can only have 1 instance of Aspect of the Storm at once. Goody. Moving on, Storm Dervish. While we are under the effects of Aspect of the Storm, we have 21% increased Storm cast speed. Gust of Renewal. Tornado costs less mana, and Aspect of the Storm grants increased mana regen. Kind of helps everything around, plus the mana efficiency allows us to cast more tornadoes. Again, this is the creme de la creme, right? We want these 2 nodes. They're very important. I would say these are the most important nodes, right? Double cast, frequency in Storm Bolts, and then 1 point in Charge Storm. And then I put 1 point Overcast Skies to make the lightning range go out a little bit more. Goody. Moving on here. Where did I get this 1 extra point? Oh, I'll put it there. Yeah, I'll put it there in Battlecry. I don't think I need it, but I'll put it there. Okay, so 2 points in Deep Roar, 4 points in Battlecry, especially if you don't have all of your bases. We could probably put it like down there or something. It's all good. 1 point. We're trying to get Bringer of Winter, essentially. Whenever we cast Warcry, we get 100% increased crit chance here and 100% increased crit chance here. I then came down here. Dread did not come down here, right? He only had 20 points in Warcry. I got 25. And I put a point in Juggernaut, a point in Breath of Eterra, and a point in Purging Shout. Why do I have 25 points? Oh, because it's a minion skill. I'm a genius. Because it's a minion skill. Okay, cool. Yeah, I forgot. It's got the minion tag. We'll talk about that in a second. So, hey, if you're using Phantom Grips, you get an extra level from it being a minion skill. All right. So, came down here, grabbed the Purging Shout, Breath of Eterra, Juggernaut. We took 3 points in Staggering Roar and 1 point in Apprehend to pull enemies back. This is all Dre's recommendation. 1 point in Shallow Breath. No stun, freeze, or fear. All right, but your cooldown's 5 seconds. And what do we get for that 5 seconds? We get, what do we get for that? We're able to put a point into Totemic Heart, which creates a Warcry totem. So this is why it's a minion skill. Right? So we got these buffs down here. I should have waited for that. I'm sorry. We got these buffs down here called Hastily Advance and Energized Charge and Raging Frenzy. We get Frenzy on hit, Haste when we cast Warcry, and it lasts longer, right? It lasts longer. The thing is, with Totemic Heart, it will create a totem that will then cast Warcry for us 3 times. So what that does, look at our buffs, keeps it up. It's almost fully up. If you're managing your buffs right, you almost have perma, frenzy, and haste. Now what has to happen though is Warcry has to hit a target. So if I use this out in the middle of nowhere, oh, I guess it's hitting something. Can I put it like over here where there's no targets? Yeah, over here, no targets. You have to hit something with it. Right? So you have to make sure you hit a target, but you can come in here and do that. Right? Get a couple swipes in, boom, run away. So, yeah, that's Warcry in a nutshell. Let's go ahead and talk about Werebear form. 1 point in Ursine Heart, 5 points of Relentless Thunder. This is very important. This is a 40% more damage multiplier for lightning damage. And then 1 point in Wizened Claws. You gain additional spell damage per point of strength. That's why strength stacking is very nice. 4 points in Invigoration. You get some extra health and rage on kill or hit. Helps with sustain. 1 point in Rip and Tear. 2 points in Army Sunderer. This, we're not really using Maul or Rampage. For example, here's Maul, right? The Hulk smash, and then here's Rampage. That's the running ability. So we get an 8% base critical strike chance for Maul and Rampage. Okay. But we get a 200% global increased crit chance for just everywhere while we're in Werebear form. Very nice. 1 point in Bringer of Storms converts Maul and Rampage to lightning. Whatever. 3 points in Storm Crackling Assault, so we can cast Storm Bolts while in Rampage. So, watch this. Alright, watch this. It looks kind of funky, but look, we're able to just proc Storm Bolts on our own. It's not very good because we don't really have any buffs up. We haven't used Swipe in a hot minute, but you guys get what I mean. We can do that. I mean, I guess you could really invest into it if you want. And at 1 point into Unending Storm, Rampage has no cooldown. You move 20% less, but you deal 20% more lightning damage while in Rampage. Now, Dread does not take these nodes up here, probably because he has 20 points. If you notice, I took a couple points elsewhere. Well, you guys might not notice unless you looked at Dread's planner. I took a couple of points elsewhere, and then I took my extra 3 points and invested them into this. So far, this feels okay, but I haven't spent as much time with this build. That's all good. It is all good. Let's go ahead and jump into the passive tree. I followed exactly what Dread said, all right? I was thinking maybe we'd want points in strength, but he said take points in the attunement. I'm guessing it's for the lightning and cold res, which I do kind of need. And attunement does help the build. I believe he said it's for the attunement gives us a little extra mana in this case, as well as some percent damage. So he took attunement, I took attunement. I took 5 points in Hunter's Restoration, just like he did. Harmony Ablaze allows us to dual wield. Now remember, with the dual wielding, you can put an axe or a sword in your offhand. This is your offhand. In your main hand, you can put whatever you want. Dual wield, 5 points in Wisdom of the Wild for 35% spell damage and 1 point in Gift of Wilderness. I have not taken points in Cornered Beast, which is very strong. I might consider it. I've been having survivability issues, but I think that's due to my lack of strength. I'm weak, but my lack of armor. But if I get more armor and it's still pretty apparent that not having cornered beasts isn't helping, I might put 5 points here. The thing is, we're trying to sustain ourselves through leech, and we're not always proccing this, but it could potentially help. I'm putting it out there in case you might be interested in it. So let's come over here to Druid. So I don't know what way Dread put the points down. I already had a high level character and I did it like that. Again, this guide is less of a leveling guide. I went to his final planner and I just put the points wherever, right? Because I had the points available. He has multiple planners on his guide. If you want to level with this, go stop. It's already too far. I probably should have said this earlier. Stop my video, go watch his video. It is a leveling guide. This is more of a, hey, you want to take on Aberoth? Here's what I did. The sharing of information. So we got 3 points in chitness plating for I need a little bit more endurance. Example, I have 55 endurance. I use Werebear. I'm now capped. Thereabouts, right? 5 points of Primordial Resonance for increased damage and Elemental Pin while transformed. Druidic Prowess gives us +1 to all attributes, as well as attunement and strength. I put all 7 points. Just for that attunement and strength. 3 points in Focus Wrath, just to help reduce the decay, as well as increase our damage while transformed. I guess we could take Rancor. The idea with the build, though, is to be transforming a lot. Right? The idea is to be transforming a lot and switching between your transformations, because we get the shapeshifter buff, which we will be going over in a moment. 5 points in Wind in the Leaves. 5 points in Bush Stalker for increased critical strike chance. This is also our only source of sustain. We have 4% leech on crit. That is our only source of sustain. That's why I was saying, if you can swing it, take the spell leech in the Black Sun timeline. But, I mean, it seems to be working. I think I just need a little bit more armor. 8 points in Aspect of Might gives us 8 points of strength. If you can swing it, you might be able to fit in a couple more points, but they might be better used elsewhere. 5 points in Primal Shifter. This is the Shapeshifter bonus. So with 5 points invested, we get 10 seconds of Shapeshifter bonus. While we have the Shapeshifter bonus, we get increased armor and damage. And then we add on to it by increasing our critical strike chance by 75% and our critical strike multiplier by 50%. So by going around doing this, right? By doing this and then transforming, we now have the Shapeshifter bonus, and the damage of our tornadoes goes up. Not solely, but largely in part due to the Shapeshifter bonus. 8 points in Rageborn for increased critical strike chance, as well as rage gain on crit. So with our tornadoes... Oh, oops. Yeah, I kind of messed this up. Hold up. So the idea, have your tornadoes going, right? And then when we switch into Werebear, we're critting. If you look at that, we're critting, we're having fun. Our stuff's going up now. Now we're just draining, and there we go. Oh, oops. So 8 points, Rageborn, increased crit chance, rage gain on crit. 10 points in Hide Skin, extra health, maximum health gain is endurance, very nice. And 5 points in Impervious, right? So when we're using our melee hits, our swipes, we have a chance to gain Impervious stacks. Stacks up to 5 times. Each stack, we take 4% less damage on hit. And then if we take a hit, we lose a stack, but we take 4% less damage on that hit. It's a good little quality of life for keeping us alive. 4 points into Shamanic Infusion for attunement and pen. 1 point into Silent Protector, and 5 points into Totemic Fury. So remember, we converted this into a minion skill by having this summon a totem for us. And boom. Totem, we all of a sudden gain extra attack speed on top of the frenzy, on top of everything, all because of this node. I really got to work on that. Sorry. All because of this node. We gain 25% cast speed. Then over here to Beastmaster, we take 8 points in Earth Sign Strength, 16% less damage taken from nearby enemies, 8 Strength, as well as 4 points into Boar Heart. So when we're hit by a melee attack, we activate Aspect of the Boar. Aspect of the Boar is a condition, it's an aspect, that grants us 15% less damage taken for up to 4 seconds. Now, you can take something like this. You can put on an idol like this. You can put on an affix if you want to make it last longer. Increase Aspect of the Boar effect, right? So if you can get like 100% and it lasts 5 seconds, it now lasts 10 seconds. Make sense? And it's a great form of damage reduction. Okay. That is the build, guys. Build guide, guys. I try to rush through it, but I'm long-winded. I like to give plenty of examples. Huge, massive shout out to Dread. Thank you for saving my weekend. I was just feeling kind of defeated, thinking I had a good Werebear build, but I ultimately didn't. Again, I put the link to that planner, to that failed build and loot filter in the description down below. Link to Dread's build in the description down below. Highly recommend you go check out his content if you haven't already. And link to this build as well as a loot filter in the description down below. Season 2 is right around the corner. Thank you so much for rocking with me. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, consider dropping a like and possibly subscribing. I really appreciate it. You guys take care.